Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston Station, we are ready for the event.
Okay, National Science Teachers Association Conference. This is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is David Evans at the NSTA National Conference. How do you hear me?
NSTA, we got you loud and clear. Welcome to the International Space Station and helping us celebrate the year of education on station.
We are so happy to talk with you today. We have some very excited teachers in the room. You can take, if you could see them, you'd see, oh, they've all got cameras pointed at you right now. We've got a bunch of questions that we've gathered from students and educators across the country. That's it. And I'm going to turn the program over to the folks who are going to pose those questions from students and educators. So glad to have you with us.
Sounds great, and I'm ready for the rapid fire.
Hi, Scott. My name is Michael, and I teach in Acton, Massachusetts. My students would like to know, what are your responsibilities on the station? Does each astronaut have a specialty for research or maintenance?
Hi, Michael, and fellow Massachusetts. I'm from Massachusetts as well. It's good to be talking to you today. So we have typically 6 crew on board at any given time, and we train for a couple of years together. We don't necessarily have specialties, but it kind of depends on when we're available to train and what systems that maybe we might be able to get a little more deeper in focus. But in general, we're all trained to do the same thing so that we can work with the ground team to plug and play to get the science done when it's needed, to do operations when it's needed.
My name is Ann. I teach at Goochland High School in Virginia. My question is, my students would like to know how you would regulate your sleep cycle while orbiting the Earth, and are biorhythms disrupted, and if so, is it difficult to have a regular sleep-wake cycle?
So, you know, everybody's a little bit different, I think, but I have found absolutely no problem up here. Granted, if we sat and looked out the cupola window all day long, maybe our heads would get a little bit crazy, but the fact is we're so busy. We work on Greenwich Mean Time, so GMT. We get up at 6 in the morning and we go to bed, you know, no later than 10 at night, and that becomes a very normal schedule for us. So the biorhythms actually get very, very stable throughout the whole deployment.
Hi, my name is Susan Poland. I'm a graduate student at George Mason University in science education, and I also have the privilege of working at the National Science Foundation. My question for you is, what is one thing you wish you would have known when you graduated high school but didn't learn until later in life?
Well, there's one thing to be said for knowing something and another thing for learning it. And I think that the biggest thing for me was, no matter what your discipline, no matter what your specialty, if you want to be world class at something, you're going to have to work hard. It doesn't matter what area you're working in, you're going to have to work hard. So when you graduate, when you start looking at specialties and majors and detailed disciplines to work in, just know that you're going to work hard. You might as well put in the time if you want to be good at it.
This is Becky Busby. I am a teacher in Hinesville, Georgia, representing Liberty County. And this question is from James at Goochland High School in Virginia. What steps did you take to become an astronaut and then be chosen to go to the International Space Station?
Well, the most important step that I took was to have a good academic foundation. And it was focused in STEM. It was in engineering pretty much the whole way, all the way from high school, college, and then graduate school, and then a little bit of work experience in an engineering field as well. So I can't say enough about that. That is a critical step. Without it, you won't even get close. So, once I got to NASA, we continue that training in operational areas and in the systems on the space station, and robotics and spacewalking and flying vehicles and airplanes and things like that. So focus on the academic foundation, and then try to work in a little bit of operational experience, and I think you'll have a good equation.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Green, and I teach in DeKalb County, Georgia. This is a question from William from Palmyra Middle School in Pennsylvania. My students want to know, how many G-forces did you experience when the Soyuz launched?
Well, when the Soyuz launched, it was a very smooth ride. We probably experienced 4 Gs, maybe 4.2 at the most. But it's not. We're laying on our backs, so the Gs is through our chest, not down through our head. So it was a very smooth ride, and it wasn't bad at all.
Hi, I'm Valeria Rodriguez from Miami, Florida. I work at Gulliver Schools, but this question is from Arij. What kind of plants do you grow in space, and how do you grow them?
So right now is one of our experiments. We're growing lettuce, and we send up little pillows that are full of soil and nutrients, and we have a syringe that we load with water. And every morning I get up, I go in and I water the plants to each individual plant a certain amount of water, and then over the period of time they grow. And the lettuce up here has been growing incredibly well. We've been eating it a little bit at various points to trim out the group of plants that we have going. So it's pretty cool.
Hi, my name is Joan Lloyd Granston from the DeKalb School System, and this question comes from Brianna from Grouchland High School in Virginia. Is stargazing better in space?
Well, since I like being in space so much, I'll say yes, absolutely, it's better. But it's a little bit different. You know, you can sit in a field in a very dark area on Earth, and you can watch the stars all night long. In space, you can watch the stars for just 10 minutes or 15 minutes because you're moving so fast that you go through the points in the orbit where you can actually see the stars. But when you can see them, oh my Lord, there are so many stars, and it's so beautiful. It's absolutely incredible. So the answer is it's a little bit different, but it's still just as beautiful.
Hi, this is Yasmin McKenzie from Fulton County School System. Here's my question. Do you need to take vitamin D to offset the lack of being out of the sun? Are there any other supplements you take to stay healthy on the International Space Station?
Yeah, that's a great question, and yes, we take vitamin D supplements while we're up here to compensate for not being out in the sun. I think we take 1,000 IU a day, depending on who the individual is. But there's no other supplements that I take, so that's pretty much it. We get everything else through our food.
Hey, my name is Kavita. I am a science teacher in a Fuji Academy. One of my question from my student is what I have a dream. He dream as to become an astronaut. What advice and encouragement would you give them?
Well, that's a big dream, and I totally recommend having that as a dream and as a goal. My advice is to find an area that interests you, whether it's physics or microbiology or medical, being a doctor, or engineering, and work really hard at it and get that academic foundation underneath you, and then go get some real-world experience. Do a little bit of operational experience, things like skiing, maybe flying airplanes, things like that, and concentrate on team efforts. And I think you'll have a pretty good thing going.
Hi, my name is Zach Harris. I teach science at Twiggs County Middle School in Georgia. My question is from Damon from Goochland High School in Virginia. Is it possible to do a blood transfusion or surgery on a human in space? What difficulties would there be due to microgravity?
So it's probably possible, but it's very unlikely. And I think if we had something that serious going on up here, we would evacuate that person down to, or that crew back to Earth to get the proper care. We do have medical doctors up here, but we've spent a lot of time learning systems and operations and less time actually being proficient at the medical stuff. Even though the medical stuff, we train intensely on it before we come up here, we don't really train on things having to do with surgery and blood transfusions. It is possible, but very unlikely. If we were to do it up here, we would need a clean room with great ventilation, because blood and whatever it is that we're working on would float away and just go in a bunch of different places, and that would be a biohazard for sure. So I really don't see that happening on station.
Hi, Scott. I'm Jeff Weldon with the Office of Science and Technology Policy at the White House. Thank you. Great work. I have a question from a student named Mira. Do you think it is possible to permanently live in space in the future? And what do we still need to learn to make this a possibility?
I do think it's a possibility, maybe the distant future, but definitely a possibility. We have got to learn how to control radiation so that we can stay up here for longer and longer times. And we have to learn how to design our systems so that our bodies can maintain their bone density and their muscle tone and overall integrity for that. So that eventually, all that knowledge and research that we have yet to do, all that development needs to go into our new systems, and we're just making baby steps as we go. But I do see that happening in the distant future.
Hi, my name is Zheng Ma. I'm from MaSTEM Academy in China. So my student's question is, what is the most fun thing to do in space?
Well, for me, the most fun thing to do in space is working with the huge team of great folks that we have on the ground. We've got 16 international partners up here. At any given time, we have 200 to 250 experiments going on up here. And on top of that, we have operations and cargo vehicles coming and going. We have robotic arms, and we're doing spacewalks. There's just a lot of great people that we work with to get to make all of those things happen. So to me, the most fun is actually being part of that team and watching everything come together.
Hi, I'm Kimmy Anders. I'm a third grade teacher at Ford Elementary in Georgia. My question is from Kaysen at Goochland Middle School in Virginia. The students there want to know if moving in space is like swimming. Is it hard to move around?
Well, moving is like being at the bottom of the pool sometimes, and you just push off and you're gliding along, if you can kind of picture that. But you're doing it where there's no water, so there's no drag, so you just keep going. And it is very easy to move around. You can do this and just kind of float around and do some neat things and just kind of hang out on the ceiling for a little while. But you also got to be careful that you don't over-control it, because you can push too hard and get going in a direction and out of control very quickly.
Hi, my name is Tyler Clark from the Center for Gifted Studies at Western Kentucky University. And my question is, are you exposed to higher levels of radiation while living on the International Space Station? And if so, how do you protect yourself from it?
So the answer is yes, and we're always monitoring. We have dosimeters all over the station, and we carry them with ourselves everywhere we go up here. So the answer is yes, but the levels over the course of a lifetime are not that much higher than what a human would experience back on Earth. But we do, if we're going to start doing long duration flights back to the moon, out to Mars and Lagrangian points, we're going to have to understand the radiation environment better, and we're going to have active protection from that radiation. We don't really have a whole lot of active protection right now on space station because the levels aren't that much higher, but we're going to have it on our future systems.
Roger Lucas from Baltimore City, Maryland, a physics teacher, and I'm also from the Philippines. This question is from Brianna of Goatsland High School. What do you do when you get bored in space? What sort of activities do you do to pass the time? Thank you.
So I've been up here for just over 3 months now, and I'll tell you, I haven't been bored even for 30 seconds. It's very busy. There's a lot of work to do. We got a lot of experiments going on. We have a lot of operations going on. And when I finally get a few minutes of downtime, I will usually call my family and say hello or catch up on email. We do have, some instruments that we can play on a little bit. We have access to movies that we can watch if we want to, and they do send up some things on the internet for us. We don't have internet, but they send up internet news and radio and things like that. So there's lots of things to do. Our favorite thing is to just sit with each other and talk on how the day went and how things are running up here.
Hi, I'm Chelsea White. I'm a fourth grade teacher in Grapevine, Texas. This question is from Jackson at Goochland High School in Virginia. He asks, since you do not use your bones and muscles as often because of microgravity, do you have to exercise? And if so, what type of exercises do you do?
That's a really good question, and that's one of the things that we try to guard against. We do not want to lose bone density while we're up here, and we want to keep our muscles in tone. So when we go back to Earth, we can walk upright and not get hurt and be in good shape. So typically, we do resistive type exercises. We have a machine called ARED, and it's a big, it's like a weightlifting machine. It's very nicely designed, and we do a lot of squats, and it's like lifting weights so that we can do load-bearing activities. And for cardio, we actually have a couple of devices. One of them is right here. It's called Cevis, and it's our bicycle. And we'll see if I can get it going here. And we'll jump on this for a little while and get the heart rate up. We also have a treadmill in the other module that we use, and we use that for cardiovascular as well.
Hello, Scott. My name is Sonia. I'm a science teacher in Florida. And this question is from Leah at Goochland Middle School in Virginia. My students want to know if you have chores and cleaning to do on the station. Is there any dust?
Yes, we do have chores, and we try really hard to keep this place clean. Dust at home just kind of settles onto surfaces. Dirt falls to the floor, and you vacuum it up. But up here, it floats all over the place, and it can actually be a medical hazard. It can get in your eyes, you can breathe it, and make things not as healthy. We have great ventilation that captures a lot of it, but we still have to clean. So every Saturday morning, we get up at 6 or 7 o'clock, and we clean for 3 to 4 hours, make sure the filters are clean, we make sure all the vacuuming is done. We wipe down the walls because sometimes food splatters and gets on the walls and the ceilings and things like that. And we also take bio wipes and we wipe down the handrails and anything with a keyboard on it, so we can make sure that we're keeping it as clean and as discreet as we can.
Hello, my name is John Shetling. I teach in Henry County, Georgia. I have a question from Skylar at Goochland Middle School in Virginia. What does it sound like to play a musical instrument in space?
Well, I just happen to have a guitar sitting right here, so I'll keep the mic on, and hopefully you can hear it, and we'll play it, and we'll find out what it sounds like.
My name is Serena Johnson from the Richmond County School System in Augusta, Georgia. This question is from Blake at Goochland Middle School in Virginia. What does it feel like when you first get to space?
Well, it feels really cool. It's very different. When you first get to space, you're actually still in the rocket. So the stage cuts off, you're thrown forward, and you're floating, and all of a sudden you realize that something's different, and all the fluids are starting to shift up into your head a little bit, and so you feel like you're upside down or tumbling. And then after a while, you get used to that. And once you're on space station, you still feel like that a little bit But after about a few days, 5 days, 7 days, depending on who you are, everything feels pretty normal. And after you're all normal, just floating around and just kind of enjoying space is normal.
Hi, Vanessa Shelburne, Science Specialist, Southwest Arkansas Education Cooperative in Hope, Arkansas. This question is from Wyatt at Goochland Middle School in Virginia, and his students want to know, is it true that if you spend enough time in space that you will grow a few inches?
Well, I'm a very short person, but I'm not sure I could stay here long enough to grow as much as I should grow to be average. But anyway, our bones don't grow in the sense that we're used to growing, like when we're young children. But when we get into space, the lack of having gravity, our spines tend to elongate just a little bit. So I think I grew 3/4 of an inch, just a little bit, just as my spine stretched out. When I get back on Earth, it'll compress again, and I'll be back to normal size. So the answer is yes, but it's a very small amount.
Well, you look great. This is Julie from Amana Academy in Alpharetta, Georgia. And my question is from Kaysen at Goochland Middle School. He wants to know, how do you overcome cultural differences on the ISS?
Well, we don't really experience a whole lot of cultural or conflict from cultural differences. As a multinational crew, we train together intensely. We live with each other. We get to know each other's families, and they become family to us. So we are very accepting of cultural differences. We like to participate in celebrations and their holidays. They like to, help us participate with us in our holidays. We exchange different foods. We talk about different things that affect our cultures and where we grew up. But very rarely do we ever have a conflict concerning culture. And if we did, we would probably just sit down and talk about it and laugh about it after.
Well, Scott, I'm the last question. I'm actually Mike and Kay from NASA headquarters, and you've done a great job here today. We heard from Joe Acaba earlier today that he said, you don't see us, we can just see you. And I can assure you I've taken a lot of pictures, and you can see these 500 educators have been taking pictures all the time. But I do want to give them a chance. If you guys join me in a big round of applause as loud as you can. I can assure you that 500 educators sound even louder in person than they do over NASA TV. But we want to say thank you very much. We've really enjoyed it, and thanks for making time today to visit with us. Thanks again.
You bet, and thank you for joining us for the Year in Education on International Space Station. Have fun, folks.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you to all participants from the National Science Teachers Association Conference. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communication.